Good evening, you incredible human beings. Guys, I've got a really easy one for you tonight. I see this all the time, literally all the time. And I used to have it too, where work is stressful. There's loads of stuff going on. There's bills flying around everywhere. You've got employees, you've got clients, you've got all these things that are happening constantly, 24/7, 365. And it's just as if your brain never gets a break. You just can't shut off. And no matter what you do, you just can't stop your head from running. It's just going and going and going and going. And it's stressful. And you start taking that stress home. And that stress that comes home with you comes out in the forms of getting angry at your kids, arguing with your wife, not being present there or doing the things that you used to be able to do. You don't take your kids to soccer anymore. You don't hang out with them anymore. Instead of being fun dad, you're angry dad, you're grumpy dad. If any of that sounds familiar, then this is going to be for you. And it's going to be really simple and easy, okay? The most common things that people do in order to deal with this. Number one, you have some form of drink or alcohol, drugs, food, something to switch off, something to give us a little hit of dopamine. See, whenever we get stressed, our body craves dopamine. That's why whenever we get stressed, we want to have a beer, we want to have a line, you want to smoke a joint, you want to do something like that, you want to gorge yourself on food, go to the hookers, something which is going to get you a little dopamine burst. And you feel good because it takes your mind off all the other bullshit that was going on for a second, okay? However, the issue with that, as we all know, is that our wives and our partners don't like us drinking, smoking, doing drugs, going to the hookers, going to the strippers. They end up getting pretty upset with us too. And so what we want to do is we want to avoid doing those things because it just makes all the stuff worse. Because when you do that, you come home, there's just another argument, there's just another problem, there's just more crap which is going on, okay? So what we want to do is we want to find a more appropriate solution which is actually going to get us to where we want to be and allow us to have the life that we want. The goal is that we want to be able to work hard, make a shitload of money, come home, be present with our kids, be there with our wife, have amazing relationships with all of them, and not end up having to rely on some form of drug or porn or strippers or hookers or something, whatever it is your vice. I'm not here to judge, but it's just not overly helpful for us. And so the way that we can do this is we can learn how to manipulate our nervous system. Our nervous system, I want you to think of it as it's like a switch, right? Flick on, flick off. We have two parts to this nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And what we want to do is whenever we're in the stressed out situation, we're in what's called the sympathetic nervous system. This is where adrenaline's going, our blood's pumping, our heart's racing, we've got a million thoughts going through our head. That's what's happening when we're in the sympathetic. What we want to get to is we want to flick that switch and get into the parasympathetic. And there's a couple of really easy things that you can do in order to get there. First of all, number one is learn how to mitigate and control your stress response. This is one of the things that we work with our clients on. How do you make it so that you are less reactive to situations and so that your head turns off far easier? That's the first thing, mitigate your stress control. Number two, after that, mitigate your stress response and improve your stress control. Right, that's what it is. Number two, after that, increase your ability to spend more time in the parasympathetic nervous system instead of going to the sympathetic. What you need to do in order to make this happen is you need to first of all become aware that you are getting stressed out. If by the end of the day you just find that you're fucking all worked up all of a sudden, well, it's no good because you've been stressed out for 6 hours and now you're fighting. You're pushing shit uphill. You're fighting an uphill battle. What we want to do is be aware when we're getting into a stressed out position. We're going to get aware when our heart is going faster, our thoughts are going faster, and then in that time, utilize specific strategies in order to reduce our levels of stress. And the third thing that we need to do after that is we need to have these mechanisms, which I was just talking about. When we identify that our stress is higher, we need to then have a mechanism which is going to reduce and lower our stress and make sure that you have things which work appropriately for you. So for our clients, what we do is we incorporate any number of different things that it could be. It could be breath work, it could be some form of exercise, it could be some form of journaling. You need to have one system, right? A system which works effectively for you, right? And you'll know it's effective because all of a sudden you won't have this problem anymore, right? But if you do have this problem, your system isn't working, right? Plain and simple. By the way, who we got on live? Benny White, James Sice, welcome on, dude. Alan Willis, my man. Pat Deegan, my brother Pat is crushing it. Hayden, Corey, good to have you on, guys. Now, team, if you don't know what to do here, if you don't know how to manage your stress, if you don't know how to switch off and flick off at the end of the day, all I want you to do is just comment down below, stress. Right? What I'll do is I'll send you across one of my trainings, which is going to help you learn how to mitigate your stress, learn how to recognize your stress, and make sure, most importantly, that you can actually deal with your stress once you've found it, okay? So just comment stress down below, and I'll send you across the training. On that note, guys, I'll leave you all to it. Hope this has helped you out. I'll speak to you soon.